First, you'll need a piece of rustic wire. It is a twine that has some stiff wire in it. That way it provides more of a rigid foundation for your flower crown, and that way you're not having to cover up just a thin piece of wire. Next, you're going to need to cut pieces of wire. I pre-cut the pieces of wire and also pre-cut pieces of tape. You're going to find that while you're creating your flower crown, you're going to need multiple little pieces here and there. So pre-cutting is just really easy. I start with wax flower. You'll want to strip the stems down just so that you'll have a clean foundation, and it just doesn't gunk up the tape or the greenery. It just helps keep things cleaned and streamlined. Sometimes I like to loop it through. It just creates a little bit more stability. I also keep my stems a little bit shorter. That way you don't have to use as much tape or wire along the way. I like to layer in the wax flower, layering or staggering the stems on each other, and then I like to put a little strip of the floral tape. So this floral tape is a little bit different. You will stretch the tape. As you can see, I'm stretching and pulling and wrapping. You'll stretch the tape to activate it, and then it will stick or adhere to itself. Next, I'll add in a flower and then finish wrapping with that specific piece of tape. This will really just get you started on adding the floral in. Like I said, I typically like to start with some wax flower or some greenery, and it's typically facing a specific direction. But continue to tape that down until you've got the stems covered. Next, I'll layer in some greenery. Before you tape it, just look at different locations for specific items like the wax flower or the greenery before you place it. And then continue to layer in more of your floral, taping those with the pre-cut pieces of tape. Again, it helps streamline the process and makes things go a little bit smoother. Continue layering in some of your wax flower. This really helps cover up your mechanics, which means, you can see when I lay down the flower crown that you can see from the side some of the green tape. Layering in the wax flower just covers that up really easily and beautifully. I get asked quite often when I'm teaching flower crowns, how do I know when to put greenery or flower or wax flowers? And my answer is, if you have taped a few flowers on there and you need to cover up some of your mechanics on the side, that's when I typically go in with the wax flower or greenery. So I start with greenery or wax, add my flowers, greenery or wax, add my flowers. It's just a little bit of a pattern there. You'll see from time to time that I constantly flip the flower crown back and forth. I suggest doing this just to make sure that it's balanced and that you're covering up your mechanics. I like to add in contrasting pops of color too, so that's why I went in and added that scoop Scabiosa, but you can see that it really is just a layering technique. I'll do a grouping of filler flower, I'll do a couple of flowers, some greenery, and again, just kind of rinse and repeat, and you can't go wrong. Don't forget to keep your stems short. It just helps keep everything a little bit tighter and cleaner and less bulky. depending on how big you want your flower crown, you can continue to go around the entire circumference of your crown. In this case, I'm going to switch the direction of my wax flower to kind of delineate the end here. I have used wire to kind of cut down on the bulk in this process. Again, I use the wire just so that I don't have to, it's a little bit easier than taping sometimes and isn't as bulky. You'll see here too that I've angled greenery and that ranunculus that I'm just putting on there in a different direction to help anchor the edge of the flower crown. So when we are anchoring the edge of the flower crown, I like to go in with, again, shorter stems and just thread some of that tape through and just be a little bit gentle, but you can actually kind of weave it through the flowers to help anchor those pieces. Once you've got everything wired and taped in, you'll be able to fill in some of your gaps or some of your holes with other floral, and I like to use floral glue. I use floral glue here because it helps me fill in some of the gaps without squishing the other flowers when I'm trying to tape or wire them, so gluing just lets me put the flower right where I need it to be. When you're layering in more flowers or contrasting colors, it's okay to do a trial run and see where the flower might fit and where it might work with the other colors. See, I'll give it a few placement ideas here until I find the right fit for it. And again, I'll glue those in because it's hard to really get these last detail pieces to work where you want them to when you're trying to wire it into an already pretty sturdy structure. Now at this point, give your crown a once over and see if there are any areas that might need a little bit of filling. You'll see right here in this area that it's just, you can see some of the mechanics, and so I like to hide those areas with little bits of wax flower or filler flower. Now once you've covered up all your holes, I just suggest that you do a once over on your crown and look and make sure that you've covered up all of your holes and mechanics. And once you're happy with it, make sure to let the glue dry for at least an hour before you wear it. Thank you so much for joining us for our flower crown tutorial. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email us or comment below.